Hi guys, day 9. Now I'm sorry about the paper around the edges, but I'm trying to cover up the ones I've already done because I want to do a big reveal at the end. So as you can see where I've drawn out the jigsaw puzzle, do you know my mind's gone to sleep doing these so many times. Anyway, today's word was screech. And the first bird that came to my mind was a screech owl. But I didn't really have a story to go with a screech owl. But I do have a story to talk about from my childhood, or teenage years, about an owl. And as I was drawing this, not knowing how I was going to narrate it, the story of Tuppence came back into my memory. Now, I must have been about 14, a bit of a sulky teenager maybe, into like the Sex Pistols, punk, you get the picture, not exactly an accommodating human being. Well, anyway, my mum and dad used to go out for a drive on a Sunday. Everybody back in the 60s went for a drive on a Sunday. Cars were a bit of a luxury. Everybody still cycled to work if their work was near. And the car came out on a Sunday and everybody went out for a drive. But as I got to be a teenager, you know, being senior parents is definitely a no-no. Well, anyway, I was in my bedroom belting out some songs and my bedroom door opened and my mum popped her head through the door and said to me, "Do you know anything about owls?" Looked at her and just said with a sulky, "No." "Why?" "Well, there's one on the dining room table. We found it." So begrudgingly, plus loads of curiosity, I went downstairs and there on the dining room table was this massive ball of fluff, not feathers, fluff, with these huge big amber eyes. I mean, obviously my drawing doesn't do it justice by any means, but I've only got a small piece of paper, space on my table, and there was this baby owl, and I must admit he was the most gorgeous thing I'd ever seen. And he lived in a box on a dining room table for a couple of weeks. My dad used to cycle past the butcher's every day on the way home from work and would pick up some succulent snacks for this owl to eat, because we had phoned up, well, my mum had phoned up the Forestry Commission and said, "What do you do with owls?" And they put her back in touch with people. Actually, can't think of it, it was the 70s. Sorry, in the 70s. So you didn't have Google or anything like that, or much information on wildlife. You did have wildlife programs, but not about owls that actually sat in a box on your dining room table. So this owl had the life of luxury, you know, and he got bigger and bigger, and my mum said to my dad, "We will have to put him in some kind of aviary." And so my dad went down the bottom of the shed and he made this big cage for Tuppence to live in. We called him Tuppence because he kind of made a sound that sounded like Tuppence, Tuppence. Don't know why he made it. And my dad got quite fond of Tuppence, and we had him for quite, it must have been about 2 months, I think, and he started to fly. So my mum, she said really we weren't in a position to keep him. So she phoned up the Forestry Commission and asked what to do, and they said, well, as Tuppence was flying, the best thing for us to do would be to take him to a nearby forest and let him go, because if you keep them in captivity for too long, they become quite humanized and they see humans as their companion. And they said that if my mum didn't let him go soon, that people in the forest would be dive bombed by him, not because he was attacking them, but because he was friendly and he was interacting with them. So one Friday night we packed him all up. I think he was put in a cat cage, the cages you take him to the vets, and we went to Savernake Forest. It's a natural forest not far from where I live. It's got lots and lots of oak trees, lots of native trees. We're not too sure what Tuppence was. He just got bigger and bigger and bigger, much bigger than a normal owl, but we don't know what he was, but he's quite big. Anyway, my mum opened up the cat cage and Tuppence hopped onto her hands and stayed there for a few moments, and we all said goodbye, and then he sort of looked at us and off he flew. And that was the last of our summer with a pet owl called Tuppence. So we did ask my mum how she came across Tuppence, and she said that she went to Old Town Gardens. You can see that on one of my blogs, the Squirrel Hunt one. Please go and have a look. It's a wonderful garden. We're so lucky to have Old Town Gardens, and I do explain the history about it. But my mum and dad had taken a stroll around there, and in the middle of one of the paths was this baby owl. Now they don't know how he got there. There were no other owls about. Baby owls, I don't know if they stay awake at night or in the daytime. I really don't know. But there he was in the middle of the path, and my mum, being my mum, just couldn't let him stay there. Some cat might get him, or a dog might have got him. So she bundled him up in her coat and brought him home and put him on the dining room table. And he was very pretty, very fluffy, very messy, and he knew my dad's yellow bike coat as soon as he came through the door for his dinner. What bird will it be tomorrow?